年快乐, you guys. Today we celebrate the Golden Dragon Parade 2021, the year of the ox. And it's been a tradition since forever. And today is actually the 122nd anniversary. And it is the longest running parade outside of China.
Which is crazy to think about because we're nowhere near 122 years old. And now more than ever, we really want to stand in solidarity together. And so today we have for you Chinese American immigrant stories as told by people themselves to celebrate our culture and heritage.
I really love that, which is why I'm here. I'm so excited to see this program. But we're going to do that by exploring music and arts. There is a ton of entertainment. We have interviews. We're going to talk about food. We're going to see a special dance performance, basically all things Chinese related.
Yes, and if it surprises you, Sheila is half Chinese and she's a dancer, so you should check her out too after this. Before we get started though, first we want to introduce two people from the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. We have the president, Mr. Kevin Chen, and we have the vice president, Ms. Gloria Chang.
Happy Chinese New Year! 祝大家牛年吉祥如意，健康平安，財源滾滾。我係陳嘉文，中華總商會的會長。I am Kevin Chan, the president of Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles. The Chinese Chamber has been serving in Los Angeles business community since 1898 and is one of the oldest business associations in Los Angeles. As part of our mission to share the Chinese heritage and history, every Lunar New Year, the Chinese Chamber organizes the Golden Dragon Parade, which takes place in Chinatown. There were tens of thousands of visitors, students, residents, business owners, and community leaders, elected officials joined the parade. For the first time of this year, for the 122nd anniversary, the parade will be virtual live stream due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe this event will reach to a bigger and more global audience. Enjoy the program. 谢谢.
A warm welcome to everyone tuning in. I'm Gloria Chang Yip, Vice President of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles. The Lunar New Year Parade has been a long-standing tradition in Los Angeles since 1898. This year, as it celebrates its 122nd anniversary, the parade is the longest-running Lunar New Year parade outside of China. Today, we partake in a tradition that started in the late 1800s when Chinese immigrants came to Los Angeles in search of a better life. Many of them were railroad workers and faced prejudice and discrimination. Initially, the parade was launched to promote greater understanding for Chinese culture and to bridge racial divides. In its first year, these Chinese immigrants came out in colorful costumes and showcased lion dances and martial arts performances from their home country to share their heritage with the people of Los Angeles. This year, more than ever, against the backdrop of COVID-19 and as a nation that has undergone economic uncertainty, racial tension, and political change, we stand in solidarity as Chinese Americans with the rest of our great country. In today's program, we want to share a message of hope, celebration, and optimism, told through the stories and voices of historians, artists, businessmen, entertainers, and everyday people that make up this wonderful city. So here's to a happy, healthy, and prosperous 2021 and Year of the Ox. Happy Lunar New Year! 新年快乐，万事如意。
So let's start the program off with the history of the Golden Dragon Parade and the Chinese Americans in LA with none other than Eugene Moy of the Chinese Historical Society right here in Chinatown.
We want to be in this parade. We want to show off our community, just like all of us want to show off LA. We are a part of LA. Hi, I am Eugene Moy. I am currently Vice President of the Chinese Historical Society of Southern California. We as an organization have been around since 1975. I joined in 1976, so I'm an old-timer, you might say. So the Chinese have been coming to the Americas, actually, since the 15 and 1600s. Not everyone is aware of that. Many Chinese and Chinese Filipinos came along with the Spanish and Portuguese and Dutch traders who made their stops in Asia and then came to the Americas, to the colonies that were established here. LA, Los Angeles, became a part of the U.S. in 1850. It was noted that in the 1850 census, there were 2 Chinese already living here. From that point on, the population grew a little bit slowly at first. By 1870, there were just under 200 Chinese here. Because in other areas of California and the West, where there were many Chinese, hundreds and maybe thousands, working in the gold fields, working in the agricultural regions, working in the coastal areas, fishing, there was resentment that the Chinese population was getting a little bit too big, that it was a threat to maybe the ethnic purity of the area. There's always this fear of new immigrants anyway, whether they were Italian or Croatian or French or Jewish, notwithstanding that many Chinese were involved in the construction of the first transcontinental railroad and also many other railroads that followed. In LA, there was tension then against the growing Chinese population. As I indicated, there were about 200 in LA, but the Chinese Quarter, the area where many Chinese lived, also had this dark perception as being an unhealthy and unsavory place. When a conflict between 2 groups of Chinese, and many of the early Chinese had aligned themselves along clan lines or family lines. If you came from a certain town or village, you were from this neighborhood, or you spoke a certain dialect, or you ate a certain kind of food. On a particular night in 1871, this fighting erupted. There was a shootout between the 2 tongs. Well, the local police came by with a couple of other people. One of the sheriff's deputies got hurt, got wounded, and then a citizen named Robert Thompson, who was a former bar owner and who would hang out in the red light district. He wasn't any great citizen, but he got shot and later died. Well, as a result of that particular incident, where these guys basically, the sheriff's deputy and Robert Thompson went into the middle of a shootout, that resulted in the alarm going out in the larger community, and people basically massed together in the Chinatown red light district and went after every Chinese that they could find. They dragged them through the streets, took them to the gallows, and hung them. It resulted in the death of 18 Chinese, including a 14-year-old boy. Now, that created reverberations across the country. Actually, people in New York or San Francisco weren't necessarily aware of the scale of the population here, which was very small, but the magnitude of the massacre of 18 Chinese really caused a ripple effect, and it really tainted the reputation of LA. Nevertheless, the larger political tide of anti-Chinese sentiment resulted in the passage by the U.S. Congress of the 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act, 11 years later. So it was not the end, but it was sort of the beginning of a long period of anti-Chinese violence. In 1893, there was an international exposition in Chicago in which the Chinese community in Chicago participated. Even though the Chinese Exclusion Act was still in place and had been renewed in 1892, in fact, but the Chicago Exposition started a trend, actually, in promoting Chinese and Chinese food and Chinese culture. So by the mid-1890s, when the La Fiesta concept emerged in LA, then this perception of Chinese and Chinatowns was starting to change. When the city leadership wanted to try to put together a promotional event for the city, for the Pueblo of Los Angeles, they wanted to show off some of the city's diversity. So there were Mexican-American performers who participated in the parade, and they wanted the Chinese and other groups. At first, actually, some of the leadership didn't think it would be appropriate to show off the Chinese. Some of the Chinese actually objected, and some of the other city leadership objected. And it was finally decided that after a little bit of back and forth discussion, it was decided, yeah, Chinese would be welcome. They brought in performers, brought in a long dragon to be carried and marched through the parade. And that caused quite a sensation. People saw that because they had never seen that. It was sort of exotic, strange, different. And I'm guessing that there were firecrackers set off along the way too. So all of that creates a sense of excitement. So from the mid-1890s onward, for a period of about 40 or 50 years, the La Fiesta Parade, which was a City of LA parade, featured Chinese performances. And then at the beginning of World War II, when the U.S. jumped in, many Chinese who perceived themselves as Americans, Chinese Americans, joined the American military, whether it was the Army or Navy or the Army Air Force or Merchant Marine. And so that was really a major shift in the way Chinese Americans were perceived. And really the identity of Chinese as Chinese Americans emerged. Many Chinese Americans, many of whom were born here in LA or in the US, wanted to show their pride in being Chinese American. So but they also wanted to remember their heritage and to promote their heritage. So in the 1950s, the Chinese Chamber of Commerce was formed. There was enough economic and political energy in the community where people felt that we should highlight, where we should promote the Chinese and Chinatown community. So the idea of having an exclusively Chinatown parade was created. And what did they do? They not only showcased the Chinese heritage, but they also showcased the relationship of the Chinese community to LA, and in particular with Hollywood. And so there was this progressively positive characterization of the Chinese American community.
Chinese lion dancing and the dragon, it's all part of the culture. But we started when we were young, and we just went through, and we're sticking with it. You know, we're still with it, and we want to do the same thing Jeff does. We're part of, you know, it's our passion to pass on the traditions to, you know, the younger generation.
My name's Vince, Jeff's son, and I was born into this team. Had no choice, and I love it. So something we could bond and join and do something together for life. So the story was, from my here is my dad started the group back in the early 60s.
Growing up in Oakland, Chinatown, and watching the lion dance during Chinese New Year, come to his father's store, and he loved all the color and he liked Kung Fu. So he got involved and had their own youth group up in Oakland. And when he came to LA, you know, he wanted to start his own troupe down here.
And he saw there was a couple of teams out here, associations doing lion dancing, and he wanted to do something, you know, with the kids, because there's nobody there around that were kids. They're all a bunch of adults. So my dad recruited some kids from Chinatown.
When I was young, my brothers and I, there's three of us. Myself, I'm Tim, Tyler's a middle one, and Tracy. And we saw Jeff performing down in Chinatown with the group, his starter group, and then we just hooked up with him. And this is when we were kids. I was probably 12 or 13, and my younger brothers all the way down to Trace. And that's it from there. And we've been going strong since. The thing about the Immortals, it started off just as Jeff Chan and his lion dancers. And eventually we adopted the name the Immortals, which, you know, has a Taoist background to it, like a religious, but it's magical. So the Immortals, we look at it like it's immortality, right? And that's part of the group. We're hoping the group will last forever, eternally. And part of the 8 Immortals, the legend is some of the Immortals were able to turn themselves into animals or creatures. Well, here we have the lion and we have the dragon, right? So that's right there, you adopt that. And then also physical strength. And, you know, that's also a characteristic of the lion dancers and Kung Fu practitioners, usually in great health and, you know, living a long, prosperous, healthy life. So, and, you know, the Immortals also, you know, bringing stability and integrity, things like that. So that's why we chose that name.
Move forward about a couple decades. In the 70s, I became more active when I got older, bigger, and stronger. Obviously, it looked fun, and a lot of my friends wanted to join, so it's pretty much a bunch of my elementary school friends and high school friends that came in, and something that we shared up to this day, which is kind of unique. That now that I'm in the mid-50s, you know, being together for that long and still in contact without Facebook back then, right? Was a unique thing to see everybody once a year to come back and help out, no matter where they branched off to.
Even though like we get, you know, you get older, you go to school and you have other activities, we still came back for lion dancing every year. We're part of that Chinese New Year parade. You know, then our kids consequently, you know, they have their uniforms and they come out every Chinese New Year. Now we're bringing out our grandkids. And one thing about the Immortals that's unlike a lot of other groups, and, you know, like other Kung Fu groups or schools or associations, is our group is really family oriented. Besides, you know, training and practice and doing the shows together, we dine a lot together. We celebrate holidays like Christmas together. We have a big party. and we share a lot of things together. They bring their little kids to practice and sit there and watch the kids practice, and then they bring them to performances when we have those. And we as a group, we watch these kids grow up when they're little. We see them going to middle school and high school, and next thing you know, they're driving themselves to practice. It's amazing. Now a lot of them are going to college, and they're coming around, and eventually their kids will come and be part of the group. And that's what we're hoping, just to keep it going.
So our line dance style, like I mentioned, back in the 70s, we learned from my dad, which taught to Tim, Tyler, and Trace, who taught me and my friends, was originally learned from my dad from instructor from Canada, believe it or not. He came to LA and saw my dad line dance and said, hey, this guy has some strength, stamina, and he looks good, but he doesn't have the correct form or the correct way of moving the head. So he taught my dad his style, which was Chole Phut, and that's what was passed on to me.
And then as far as the Kung Fu goes, we've had various styles come through, different people teaching different styles. And we learned from a gentleman named Albert Leong. He was part of Wong Out Yu's school. And Al Leong, you've probably seen him in a lot of movies like Lethal Weapon. He's the guy with the long hair, and Big Trouble in Little China. So he's like the one that taught us a lot of the Kung Fu stuff, the weapons and things that we do. So we incorporate some of that too in the footwork and everything in the lion dancing. So, like our lion dance, it's unique, but yet it still has a foundation from, very basic Chinese Kung Fu styles. But it's evolved, to this day now, my brothers and I, we don't perform the lion head as much as we used to. It's getting old. I'm over 70 now. But the younger kids, they brought some new ideas and new styles to the group too. Like, I think they call it a Hong Kong style.
It's more of an active style, not necessarily stronger style, but more active. The head movement's more active. The steps are more active. The music's a lot more active, so it's a lot more livelier. And some of the guys on our team saw this style and really loved it. So we reached out to some sifus in Hong Kong to gather more information, to learn more about the style. And we've been going back to Hong Kong for the last 5+ years or so now, which is kind of difficult since most of us don't speak Cantonese or Chinese. How they're willing to teach, because they said that a lot of people do it wrong, especially in America, and they want it to be done right. So he's offered to share us everything he knows, which we're grateful for.
This year is an interesting year because we're still affected with the COVID. But my favorite activity is getting together with the family and dining, eating, of course. Chinese people love to eat, especially in groups. And of course, participating, with the lion dance.
And I guess the big thing is the parade, that's where you see all the people from the different past generations come and bring their kids and what have you, and their grandkids. And to see everybody together, it's just like one big happy family. And
in the meantime, we'll still traditionally at home celebrate. We'll still put up our different decorations for Chinese New Year. And we'll see close family members. That's part of our bubble. And if there's an opportunity to go out and participate with the lion dance, definitely do that. That's one of my favorite things.
Just want to wish everybody from the Immortals Lion Dance team a happy New Year, and let's have a better 2021.
I want to just finish by saying Gong Hei Fa Choi to everybody. Qi Nian Kuai Lan. Happy New Year. Most important is a healthy New Year for everybody. Thanks.
Up next, a special appearance by Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti and some help with the microphone from his little girl.
Happy New Year, everybody! You too! Happy New Year, everybody! Gong Hei Fa Choi! Happy New Year, LA!
Happy New Year!
Happy Lunar New Year to everyone. For 122 years, this celebration has brought Angelenos together to celebrate the traditions, to lift up the extraordinary contributions of our Chinese community here in Los Angeles. And while this celebration looks a little different this year, that mission is still as important as ever. I want to give a special shout out to all my dear friends at the Chinese Chamber of Commerce who work year-round to support the Chinatown businesses that are the beating heart of our great city. In this difficult and most trying chapter, your efforts have meant so much to our city. So as we usher in the Year of the Ox, let's keep our traditions alive and honor all our cultures, support all of our neighbors, and recommit to being a city where everyone belongs. I'm so proud of the contributions of Chinese Americans in our history and every day, and I wish a happy, healthy Lunar New Year to each one of you.
Chester Chong, the chairman of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles.
Hi, happy Chinese New Year's, everyone. I'm Chester Chong, the chairman of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles. Welcome to the Chamber's 2021 virtual celebration of the Year of the Ox. We have organized the Golden Dragon Parade for 122 years. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it will not be held this year. But we hope to resume this traditional parade next year and that you will join us. This virtual celebration will be highlighted by a reflection on the history of the achievement of Chinese Americans in Los Angeles. Sit back and enjoy the rest of the program, showcase Chinese American heritage, art, entertainment, and VIP interviews. I hope all of you will have a happy, healthy, and prosperous Year of the Ox. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Greetings and congratulations from the Chinese Consulate to all the friends participating in this year's Golden Dragon Parade. I'm so pleased to join the friends of the Chinese community in celebrating Chinese New Year, the Year of the Ox. I know because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the parade has to go virtual. However, what is important is that we have managed to keep this Central Lounge tradition during this difficult time of the pandemic. By keeping this tradition uninterrupted, the Chinese community has demonstrated its commitment to preserving the Chinese cultural heritage, promoting cultural diversity, and its endeavor to bring people of different cultural and ethnic backgrounds together to embrace a better future. Thank you to Chinese Chamber of Commerce, Los Angeles, for organizing this event. New Year brings new hope. Line dance and drum beats uplift our spirit. May the Year of the Ox bring good fortune, good health, and great happiness to everyone. Happy Chinese New Year.
We have enjoyed actually great success because of how the family worked together harmoniously in the company. Now there's a caveat to that. I mean, even though we have a really great family, I would say, but I don't take that for granted. It's something that we have to work hard to maintain and to make sure that it continues. So I'm Daniel Fong. I am now the teacher of Million Dollar Baby. It's a 30-year-old company. We started the smallest industry, and I would say that we're humbly one of the leading companies in the entire industry now. In 1990, I was looking for a company to buy because of my previous experience of working for my father and then working for a big company. I thought a new experience of owning my company may be fun. So based on my venture capital experience, I started looking for companies to buy and going through my normal channels. And then it just happened, I think randomly somewhere, I came across a classified X section of a Chinese newspaper. But I saw a little ad, say baby furniture wholesale company for sale. That really is interesting. And long story short is that I ended up buying the company from a old couple who wants to retire that's related to one of the factories that I am buying from Taiwan. I read another classified ad of a newspaper, Chinese newspaper, and there's another baby furniture wholesale company for sale. And that one's from Dallas, Texas. And same situation, they buy from the same factory, and because the companies that we started are very small regional companies. So in 2 years, I expanded to Dallas, and then pretty soon I was in Atlanta and then New York and became a national company. So I would say that that is how I started. And I like the business because I call that a happy business. Just like a toy business. It's like every potential customer that walked into a baby shop are usually very happy because they're expecting, you know, another newborn. So I call that a very happy business, and I like that type of business. The first major milestone was in 2004 when my daughter Tracy graduated from university. Right before her graduation, actually, my wife Marianne got diagnosed with colon cancer. So she needs to go through the treatment and operation. So it was a very sudden thing, and I need help. So I needed help. So I said, okay, Tracy, okay, you're graduating. And I said, I just need 3 months of your time just to help out so that I can hire someone, reorganize, or just to handle this sort of sudden shock of your mom getting sick. So she said, fine, I'll do that, okay. And I would say the first day she walked into the company, everybody felt that it's like a breath of fresh air. And somehow it's just changed the whole culture of the company the day that she walked in. And she eventually fell in love with the business. So she stayed until now. So that is very significant. But because of my interaction of working with Tracy, it changes my my desire to work with more younger, talented people. And so my son was graduating in 2006, and I did a really proper recruitment exercise with them, with my son and his classmates. Actually, I actually offered competitive market rate to induce my son to work for me. It's not a command or demand that He comes in and then works for nothing, and it's like, okay, that's the privilege of working for your father. But the good story is that all three of them came and joined us. And maybe at this time I will disclose that both my children went to Harvard. So now we have a group of Harvard graduates that's working for this little tiny company selling baby furniture in Los Angeles. So this is a really, really significant milestone that really introduced a level of excellence, a level of youth, a level of energy that is really, really amazing. The notion, original, is not really to keep it in the family. I mean, I don't really, because of my faith again, I mean, I don't own anything, I'm a steward, so I don't really have that strong possessive desire. When the family works together, when the family is close, there's a lot of trust. And I think in a startup business, trust is very important. So that's why I ended up asking a lot of my sisters, my brother-in-law, and my children to work for me. It's that because there's a lot of trust. And so that barrier is taken care of, and then we can just really focus on growing the business and making the business successful. So outside of the regular company meetings, our family, all the family members who work in the company, has a separate family meeting quarterly to make sure that we don't argue in front of the rest of the company, and we don't fight, and then we resolve our issues, which we have. Right? No matter how great we think that we are, there are issues. So we actually address these issues head on. And so we have family meetings outside. We make sure that everybody's working as in a way to glorify the family, that's to show that the family is working very hard along with everybody else. So that's, to me, is my approach to having family members. Right now, my son is the CEO, and my title is not like chairman or founder or any of that. My actual title is actually teacher. And the reason why I like that and I want that title is that there's a lot of misinformation, what I call myths of management. And so I want to be the myth busters, and then just to really clarify what sound management theory actually should be. So what do we promote is servanthood. So that's where faith comes in also, is that I really think that serving people is a much healthier posture and attitude than leading someone. For me, based on my 40 years of in business, to me, culture is a collection of the personality or the being of all the people involved in that organization. When you join a company or organization, automatically you will become one of us. That is the biggest myth of all. Knowing that everyone that comes in will change our culture, we work very hard to make sure that that culture does not deviate or just suddenly just went along a different way. But my role is to be in the 40,000 foot high level to see what's going on. I need to be the myth busters to see, hey, people are selling culture program. Okay, maybe we should not be doing that. So I have a role, a very important role, to be the scout and to be the person that's looking into the future and bringing the learning back that is appropriate for the company. And so that is my role. And I think a lot of the patriarchs resist doing that because they resist to reinvent themselves from a role that they're so familiar with. And for me, maybe it's just my nature. Continuous learning, continuous improvement brings joy to me. I love learning and I love to do new things. So this just works out perfectly, and I think I'm enjoying really my new role as the teacher of the company. So we're looking forward to Chinese New Year's Eve, because that's a big deal. We also have the tradition to the red packets, giving out the red packets and things like that. So those are the fun things that we do. So we look forward to it, and then we usually cook some very special dishes. And so our family, the traditional abalone, which is the dry abalone from Japan, sea cucumber and fish maul, that combination is my favorite dish. and I look forward to having that with the rest of my family.
If you look at the Federation, we're comprised of just about anybody and everybody. If you look at us, there's so much diversity in terms of representation of who practices Kung Fu. Gender-wise, age-wise, racially, we're all different from that standpoint, but we're all the same when it comes to preserving our cultural art. My name is Fenton Fong Eng. I operate a Kung Fu school in Arcadia, California, and I'm also the chair of the Traditional Chinese Martial Arts Federation. Our organization was formed over 4 years ago. It's a nonprofit, and our mission is really to preserve and share the tradition of our cultural art. We started here in Southern California with a handful of Kung Fu instructors who used to get together annually for a competition, tournament. The annual competition is called the Golden Dragon Championships. It's usually hosted in a very large facility. A co-sponsor is also the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. And it's a gathering of all the Kung Fu schools that are members. And it's more of a friendly competition just to showcase our abilities and really a gathering of all our brothers and sisters. And then it was decided that maybe we should get together to try to preserve the arts. Many of us come from different systems. Kung Fu has dozens of systems. We're actually very different in terms of how we execute our techniques and applications. And what was important to us was the unity that we had as a group, as fellow instructors. And with the systems that we have, some systems may not be shared and preserved in China itself, where it originated. So a lot of Kung Fu systems only exist in the United States or places outside of China. We are commonly confused with Wushu. Wushu is a more modern version of Chinese martial arts and is exhibition-based. Traditional Chinese martial arts comes from the people. And the understanding is that the words Kung Fu mean martial arts, which is also a misperception. Kung Fu, when translated from Chinese, actually means the result of hard work. It can be applied to any discipline or art form. A typical statement within a school is usually this. This states that one should learn benevolence, learn righteousness, and learn Kung Fu. And on the other side, the statement of obeying your parents, obeying your teacher, and obeying the teachings is always prominently displayed in most Kung Fu schools. So it's not just a matter of self-defense or fighting. We are teaching values to our students that pertain to all aspects of their lives. We tend to teach anybody and everybody. Students in my school range in age from 5 to 85. We are very diverse. It's not exclusively for Chinese people, and our demographic is everybody. And which points to the roots of Kung Fu. Kung Fu used to be developed for the sake of protection, self-defense. In ancient China, the villages did not have a police force or any sort of government protection, so there was a number of systems developed so that every member of the village participated in the defense or protection of their village. And, that's sort of a short version of how Kung Fu came about. A typical Kung Fu class comprises of many things. It's a workout, and there are many exercises, calisthenics, and stretching routines that help the physical fitness of the individual so that they can properly apply the techniques. Additionally, another benefit of a class is really the mental aspect of it, where the discipline comes in very handy. And the discipline is used to really show or demonstrate perseverance, the ability to not only refine a movement or succeed, but also the understanding of how one can learn from failure. We do fail, and once you fail, you strive to succeed. And in many ways, Kung Fu is part of that lifelong learning experience. When it comes to Lunar New Year celebrations, one of the favorite things that we do in a traditional Kung Fu school is that we perform the lion dance. Of course, as we all know, lion dance usually ushers in the new year by pretty much cleaning the slate of the past year, all bad omens or things that occurred, so we can start afresh in the new year. We won't be doing it as often this year because of the need to be socially distanced, but we are scheduled to perform for a number of different organizations remotely via the internet, and we're hopeful that we can, say goodbye to 2020 and move on. Go ahead, Rajo. Please enjoy the rest of this year. We're hopeful that this will be a special one for us, and look out for other performances by the Federation. We hope to continue to spread our cultural art and enjoy our art. Thank you.
恭喜發財，恭喜發財，新年快樂，新年快樂。Happy Lunar New Year! My favorite thing about Lunar New Year are the incredible events that occur during that time. For instance, the Lunar New Year parade in Chinatown is so well attended. People are so excited. And the Monterey Park Lunar New Year event is so crowded. It's wonderful to see the community walking around at the different booths, enjoying the entertainment, and just being together to enjoy Chinese culture. My Chinese zodiac sign is the snake. My favorite dim sum dish is siu mai. So delicious. My favorite Chinese restaurant has always been Ocean Star Restaurant in Monterey Park. Now I know that it closed, but I have to say that I had many, many banquets there, and it was always packed to the gills. But one thing is that whoever attended the banquet, no matter what their ethnic background, they absolutely loved the food there. During this Lunar New Year, we have to be socially distanced, so it will just be my husband Mike and me. And of course, we're going to have a delicious Chinese meal. And that meal will include noodles. Now, you know, the longer the noodles, the more longevity to life. So we are going to have the longest noodles ever. My proudest memory as a Chinese American was the day after I won my race for Congress in 2009. That was incredible, but what was even more amazing was the day after when President Obama called me from the White House to congratulate me on becoming the first Chinese American woman elected to Congress in history. My favorite boba tea order combines my two favorite items, and that is mangoes and boba. So yes, it is mango milk tea. Well, I like Jet Li because I just saw him in the movie Mulan. And I tell you, I was so inspired by the story of this young Chinese woman who became an incredible warrior and was able to defend the emperor against all odds.
Gong Hei Fat Choi. Happy Lunar New Year. I love the fact that people use poppers to celebrate Lunar New Year. One of my favorite parts of it, and especially the parade. I'm a tiger. There's just too many restaurants in Chinatown to name just one. I love them all. This year, we'll just go to one of our favorite restaurants in Chinatown and eat dumplings and really enjoy the day. My favorite boba tea, I'm kind of just born black milk boba tea.
好，我叫何光月 Catherine Ho。我今天会给大家唱一首歌，叫《至少还有你》，or At Least I've Still Got You。这是一半中文一半英文的歌曲，希望大家都很喜欢。Happy Lunar New Year， 新年快乐！身不由己，我怕时间太快，不够将你看仔细。我怕时间太慢，日夜担心失去你，恨不得夜夜之间埋头，永不分离。如果全世界我也可以放弃，至少还有你值得我去珍惜，而你在这里就是生命的奇迹。也许全世界我也可以忘记，只是不愿意失去你的消息，掌心的痣我总记得在哪里，在哪里。
Ni hao and gong hai fat joy. Thank you to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce Los Angeles for inviting me to this wonderful virtual celebration as we rig in the Lunar New Year. Xing Ni Kuai Lo. As chair of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, I proudly represent the largest Asian community in the nation. It's always given me a great deal of pleasure to see our diverse communities coming together for this important cultural celebration. The Lunar New Year Parade has been a long-standing tradition in Los Angeles, and it is 122nd year anniversary. This parade has been the longest-running Lunar New Year parade outside of China. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we are unable to gather in person. Our Asian American and Pacific Islander community is among the fastest-growing minority group in the country. Lunar New Year is one of the most significant holidays in many Asian cultures. This includes countries such as China, Vietnam, Korea, and Cambodia. And it is a tradition that has been celebrated for centuries and serves as an opportunity for families to come together to honor our ancestors. This year, we welcome the Year of the Ox, which symbolizes traits such as honesty, diligence, dependability, strength, and determination. A famous Ox Year person is President Barack Obama, born in 1961, whom I had the pleasure of working for as Secretary of Labor. It is important that we continue preserving these cultural traditions to stay in touch with our own roots. At the Board of Supervisors, I fought to establish the county's first Office of Immigrant Affairs. And as a child of immigrants, working-class parents, it's important for me to ensure that our underserved communities have access and information to all the services offered by the county. And I'll continue to fight for our immigrant communities, including for their path to citizenship, access to all county resources, and opportunities to break economic and social barriers. Due to this unprecedented crisis, many small businesses, particularly in the Asian community, have been impacted, and the financial pain has been devastating. I'm pleased with the state of California's timely announcement on ending the regional stay-at-home order, which reflects the hard work of Angelinos these past few months to stay home and save lives. Our small businesses have endured tremendous hardships and are struggling just to stay afloat. I was happy the board approved the motion I authored, directing the county to provide support and grants to small businesses seeking compliance with health orders and guidelines. That is why last month I was proud to announce that Los Angeles County would be aligning with the governor's order to allow for the reopening of permitted activities. It's time to start rebuilding our economy while keeping safety in mind. Please remember to practice social distancing, wear your mask, and wash your hands often. I remain committed to ensuring that Los Angeles County residents remain healthy, safe, and have the necessary resources and support to get through this difficult time. And I'm honored to be here with you today as we celebrate Lunar New Year. Gong Hai Fat Choi.
Happy New Year. Xin Ni Hao. It is a privilege to commemorate the start of the Year of the Ox. In the Chinese zodiac, the ox represents strength, reliability, fairness, and hard work. As we work together toward recovery and regrowth, the ox is the perfect symbol for the road ahead. Bringing healing to our homes, workplaces, and neighborhoods requires unity. One Chinese proverb says that if you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. Last year, the generosity and kindness our communities displayed were deeply appreciated as we overcame hardships. Your commitment will continue to shape our successes in the years to come. In 2021, we can move forward to a brighter future for our friends, families, and communities. In celebration of the new year, I wish you a renewed sense of hope and determination. May Lunar New Year mark the start of a great health, happiness, and prosperity for each of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Villanueva, Sheriff of Los Angeles County, here to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year.
What is your Chinese zodiac?
Ooh, mine is the rabbit.
What is your favorite Chinese restaurant in Los Angeles?
I'm going to have to go close to my hometown. It's going to be Whittier. It's the Silver Palace. Awesome place.
What is your signature boba tea order?
Milk tea.
Jackie Chan, Jet Li, or Donnie Yen?
Is that a trick question? Jet Li, of course.
Xinyan Kui Lai. Hi, I'm Tim Murakami, the Undersheriff of Los Angeles County, and I want to send my greetings of Happy New Year to my friends at the Chinese Chamber of Commerce.
What is your favorite thing about Lunar New Year?
Actually, what I like is all the different festivities and the Chinatown Parade, probably one of my favorites.
What is your Chinese zodiac?
I was actually born the year of the dog.
What is your favorite dim sum dish?
My favorite of all, Char Siu Bao.
What is your favorite Chinese restaurant in Los Angeles?
Actually, I like all of them. There is no favorite. You give me Chinese food and I'll go.
Jackie Chan, Jet Li, or Donnie Yen?
Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee actually is the first one to kind of set the tone for Asian Americans not being a lackey but actually being a hero. So he's kind of the legend for Asian actors.
I want to take a moment and just wish all of you a happy Chinese New Year. This last year has been a challenge for all of us. The pandemic has had such devastating impacts on all of our communities, but we've worked through it together, and we'll see a brighter 2021 and a happier Chinese New Year, the year of the ox. So let's celebrate, let's remember our past, and look forward to a brighter future. God bless.
Gung Hai Fat Choi, everybody. I'm Blake Chow, Deputy Chief, Los Angeles Police Department, in charge of our Transit Services Bureau. I had the opportunity to become the first Chinese American Deputy Chief in the history of LAPD and have been involved in the Lunar New Year Parade, so generously sponsored by the Chinese Chamber, for probably about 15 years now. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we're not going to be able to have a parade, but I wanted to take the time to wish everybody in the community a happy Lunar New Year and have a safe New Year, and we'll see you next year.
Hi, this is Senior Lead Officer Danny Chow. I'm the Asian Community Affairs Coordinator from the Office of the Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department. I just want to wish everybody a very happy, healthy, and prosperous Chinese New Year. 我要祝福大家新年快乐，恭喜发财，万事如意，年年有余。恭喜发财。
Good afternoon. This is Mike Fong, trustee for the Los Angeles Community College District. Gong Hei Fa Choi, Sunny Fai Lok. Happy Lunar New Year. My Chinese zodiac sign is I'm a dragon. My favorite thing about the Lunar New Year is getting together with family to celebrate and usher in the coming year. My favorite dim sum dish is a Chinese sticky rice, no mai gai, which is wrapped in a bamboo leaf and is really yummy. Favorite Chinese restaurants in Los Angeles include Yang Chow, ABC Seafood, and many others. To celebrate the Lunar New Year, my family and I usually get together for a nice dinner, a nice lunch, and to share stories and to usher in the Lunar New Year. My proudest memory as a Chinese American is when Congress passed the resolution for the Congressional Gold Medal for Chinese American World War II veterans, including my grandfathers who served in the United States Armed Forces as veterans of World War II. My favorite signature boba tea order is almond milk tea with grass jelly and boba. And Jackie Chan is a favorite, and it was an amazing honor to meet Jackie Chan in Los Angeles' Chinatown, Central Plaza, a few years back when he did a concert for the community. Thank you so much, Jackie Chan, for your amazing leadership in the community. And thank you so much to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles for your leadership and efforts in organizing this virtual parade in these unprecedented times. I wish you and yours a wonderful Lunar New Year and best wishes on a wonderful year filled with health, wealth, and prosperity. Stay safe, be well, and much happiness.
Hello, I'm Los Angeles City Controller Ron Galperin. Happy Lunar New Year! My favorite things about the Lunar New Year holiday: the parade, seeing everyone celebrating, the vibrancy, pageantry, and diversity of our celebrations in Los Angeles. What's my Chinese zodiac sign? It is the rabbit. The rabbit traditionally has many traits I aspire to live by: responsibility, patience, kindness, honesty, and gratitude. My favorite Chinese restaurant in Los Angeles? There are so many to choose from. Among the many that I love is Happy Family. Great vegetarian dishes, and I've always been amazed how they can make tofu look and taste like just about anything. What is my family doing to celebrate this year, Lunar New Year? We are planning to celebrate the Lunar New Year with some dumplings, spring rolls, almond cookies, and maybe a visit to the Chinese garden at the Huntington. Wishing everyone health, luck, and a happy Lunar New Year. Gong Hei Fa Choi.
新年快乐. Happy Lunar New Year. My favorite part of the Lunar New Year is getting together with my mom, my aunt, and my cousins. It's a load of fun, especially when the kids start screaming, whether it's playing games or receiving red envelopes. I was born in the year of the tiger. My favorite dim sum dish is lo mai gai. One of my favorites for Chinese food is Sea Harbor seafood. Of the actors, I select Jackie Chan because I met him and he was entertaining.
Hello everyone, this is former Assemblyman Mike Ng wishing everyone a happy Lunar New Year. My favorite Lunar New Year memory has been the Chinese Chamber of Commerce Los Angeles Parade, where we line up in our convertibles or the sidewalk and we see thousands of people representing all areas of Southern California coming together to celebrate our common culture and the Lunar New Year. And after the parade, we would go to my favorite Chinese restaurant, the Plum Tree Inn, with its friendly ambience. It's owned by a family which has adopted all of us who come in as regulars, and it has great food. It's closed right now, but my New Year's resolution is that it come back soon. Hey, my zodiac sign is the dog, and we're very loyal to people and restaurants too. When I was growing up, my family would celebrate the New Year by cleaning our house and then going out to eat. But of course, we were so tired after cleaning the house, all we would do is sit around and have drinks. Speaking of drinks, my favorite drink is the classic boba tea, with strong black tea, tapioca pearls, and I love mine with almond milk. Well, all this talk about food and drink is making me thirsty and hungry, so I gotta go. Again, Happy Lunar New Year to everyone.
Needless to say, the last year has been pretty tough on all of us, but hopefully we see better days in 2021. The next clip is about Apollo Medical Holdings, which is a leading healthcare company that integrates cost-effective solutions for healthcare providers, physicians, and health plans. They've been a huge part in helping fight COVID-19, especially for the Chinese and Asian community in the greater Los Angeles area, and we just want to shout them out.
We're the first, before anyone else, before the government, before the county, before the city, before the state did anything for our population in the San Gabriel Valley, in the Chinese community. We're the first one to have a drive-through testing, right, taking care of our members. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Kenneth Sim. I'm a surgeon by training. I'm currently the chairman of the board of Apollo Medical Holdings and Allied Pacific IPA. My understanding is this is the 122nd annual Golden Lunar Parade. And despite this very difficult times with the pandemic, I really want to thank you all for the wonderful efforts you're putting up to continue this tradition on behalf of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles. So thank you all. And thank you for having me. It is a huge project, and there are many reasons, right? The first and foremost, the most important reason is really to maintain the providers, the doctors network in Chinatown to serve the community. But as we all know, when a community loses a hospital, the next thing that happens is you lose all the doctors, right? They all move away because you don't have a hospital to practice in anymore. So the fear was, at that time, a couple of years ago, was that if we don't do something to keep these doctors intact, to provide those medical services in Chinatown, the community will be left behind without the convenient and immediate medical services by these doctors. Of course, there are other reasons, right? There are also personal reasons from my own perspective and for my own colleagues and my partners in Allied Pacific IPA. I grew up in that environment, using Chinatown, the French hospital then, to care for our families. And later on, when I became a surgeon in my earlier part of my career, I actually, myself and many of my colleagues, practiced at a French hospital. I did surgeries there, and I was a part of the medical staff. So from a personal perspective, it was important for us to emotionally to want to help that community and help to keep that piece open as much as we can. All of our efforts to rebuild, the urgent care clinic, the multiple multi-specialty group, the primary care pieces and all that, it has been slowed down and hampered a little bit by the pandemic. But my hope is, and my own vision is, once the pandemic is over, there will be a robust and a vibrant repatriation, hopefully of our younger generations, along with our older folks in Chinatown, to come back to Chinatown and to come back to the LA downtown area. And Allied will be committed to continue to step up, improve, and serve the community well. I'm very proud. I think I am very, very proud, and our organization is also very proud for the work we have done in helping our community toward the COVID-19 pandemics. This is, in my 35 years of practicing as a surgeon, this is probably the worst times with a pandemic as such that truly has ravaged our community in every single ways of life you can think of. We're proud because we're the first one. Allied Pacific is the first physicians organization that started a drive-through testing for COVID, in joint partnering with our hospital partner, Garfield Medical Center. And the ongoing efforts is we kept all of our urgent cares open, right? In Chinatown, in Arcadia, in the Hacienda Heights area, in the Monterey Park and Alhambra. We kept all of our urgent care centers open 7 days a week to service the COVID patients, right? We have continued to ask our staff to not stop working at all, although 90% of them today are working from home. They are continuing their best efforts to provide the care with authorizations, medical services, without any disruptions throughout this whole pandemic time. So today, we have successfully vaccinated all of our healthcare providers, all our first-line folks that are working in the hospitals. And then secondarily, we have been successful in vaccinating all the office folks that work for these doctors, so they don't stop coming to work, right? So now we are diligently looking at a joint venture community efforts between the hospitals, Allied Pacific IPA, and some of the local federally qualified clinics to jointly looking at vaccinating, the next step, all the seniors that are 65 years or older. So it's an ongoing effort that Allied Pacific had put it at the top of our agenda during this time without any interruption of services to our patients, maintaining the medical offices open, keep all of our operations open, our outpatient surgery centers open, Sun Lab, our laboratory partners open all the time. They're doing 1,000 testing a day. Sun Lab, actually, our partner, went out there and got 2 machines. And these machines can perform testing up to 1,000 tests per day with a 24-hour turnover time. So if I were to go this morning to get a test, I can potentially get my results back by tonight or by tomorrow morning. So that has been extremely helpful through the joint collective efforts of all of us to take care of our patients in the hospitals, our patients in the outpatient, and in the doctor's offices. We are physicians, always will be physicians, first and foremost. So this notion about us being business people, entrepreneur, those are all secondary, right? But it is true that 7 of us, 6 of my partners, myself, started this company in 2006. And to fast forward to today, we have really built out this company with our bare hands, if you will, from nothing. The idea really is, it's not so much, to be a public company or whatnot. Those are all secondary. The important thing is this notion of how we can, each one of us from our own kind of a solo practice, if you will, like a mom and pop organization, how can we sustain? How do we continue to provide the sustainabilities to bring in new doctors, to bring the younger generations, to continue to serve our community, right? Because in my 30-something years, and all my other partners have all been here for 30 years plus, the community has been very good to us, right? And it truly is our obligations and our responsibilities to have a very clear plan to keep bringing the best, the youngest, and the most talented physicians to come back to serve in this community. But the idea behind it is, how do we physicians learn how to work together while we are maintaining our individual autonomy, but learning how to work together to build a larger piece that's sustainable with a single common goal and vision, is that to make sure that beneficiaries, the best beneficiaries, the group that will benefit the most from our work will be our patients, right? So that's kind of the collective vision in a high level, why we're doing this. Well, if there's a dream, actually to us is, for folks like myself and many of my colleagues, we are the first generation, right? We are immigrant that first came to this country at a young age, and we're given this great opportunity, to go to school here, go through training, become physicians, and have the support of a community to get us to where we are today. From our perspective going forward, we want to continue to complete our mission and our vision, right? Which is to provide the best quality at the lowest cost, right? To help with this whole challenge with the healthcare system and the expenditure in the United States. So in so doing, we're looking forward to extend. The idea is to find like-minded physicians with similar appreciations of our values and join up together with them and build a much larger company. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to continue to build the company outside of California. I'm sure, all the folks around us in the company would like us to have that tradition of giving out the red envelopes again, either virtually or by mail or whatever. But I personally is going to enjoy your virtual, 122nd Golden Lunar Parade and share that with you and spend a day watching this what I expect to be a wonderful, wonderful parade. And to that end, I also want to thank all the board of directors of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles, and thank you for inviting me today to share some of my thoughts with you, and wishing you a very successful chamber year, and I will do whatever we can contribute to your success. I want to say this in Cantonese, right? Because I'm Cantonese. So 祝大家新年快樂，身體健康，多謝你哋。Thank you.
Do 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 do. 爱像一阵风，吹完它就走，这样的节奏，谁都无可奈何。没有你以后，我灵魂失控，黑云在飘落，我被它拖着走，静静悄悄默默离开，陷入了危险边缘 ，baby， 我丢失最后的方法。
你说你也会难过，我不相信你。每天晚上一个头脑就快没呼吸，希望他是真的比我还要爱你，爱你，爱你，爱你，爱你，这样我才会逼自己离开，我才会逼自己慢慢走开，我才会逼自己慢慢放开，我才会逼自己慢慢离开。
你要我说多难看，我根本不想分开，为什么还要我用微笑来带过？我真的没有天分，安静的陪着你快，我会学着放弃你，是因为我太爱你。从前从前有个人爱你很久，但偏偏风渐渐把距离吹得好远，好不容易又能再多爱一天，但故事的最后，你好像还是说了拜拜。
到最
幸福
这个季节，
把你的脸颊像舔你手头的番茄，你突然
对我说
心里想
名字很美，
我此刻却只想亲吻你倔强的嘴。我一路向北，离开有你的季节，说你好美，你无法再爱上谁。山路去过往的画面，全都是我不对，细数惭愧，多想你几回。
亲吻你的手，还靠着你的头，让你躺胸口，那个人已不是我。这些平常的举动，现在叫做难过，哦，难过。
中古世纪的城市里，我想就走到这，还有不再眷恋大海，可以飞更远。
我的温暖，你的冷漠，让爱起雾了。如果爱情画在起雾的窗是模糊，还是个清楚。你算什么男人？算什么男人？眼睁睁看他走，却不闻不问，是有多天真，就别再硬撑。期待你挽回你，却空手让人。你算什么男？算什么男人？还爱着他，却不愿叫他再冷。为在你他只是人分，他会遇到更好的男人。
眼看着你难过，挽留的话却没有说，你会微笑放手。
说好不哭让我走。
不知不觉你已经离开我，不知不觉我跟着直觉走，后知后觉又过了一个秋，后知后觉该好好生活。不知不觉你已经离开我，不知不觉我跟着直觉走，后知后觉又过了一个秋，后知后觉我该好好生活。不知不觉你已经离开我，不知不觉我跟着直觉走，后知后觉后知后觉。
Now, you know we can't talk about Chinese culture without talking about food, right? Our next clip is about the Phoenix Inn restaurant, an iconic restaurant that has been serving Chinatown and the greater Los Angeles area since 1965.
When I was 5, they opened this restaurant, and I have had the privilege to watch them grow what was initially a mom and pop restaurant to where it is today, which is 13 locations that span across San Gabriel Valley and Los Angeles. Hi, my name is Nick Chang, and I'm third generation in Phoenix Restaurant Group, and I'm excited to be here with you today. So in the 1960s, my grandparents immigrated from Hong Kong to Los Angeles with their family in search of better opportunities. The moment they landed, my grandpa actually went to Chinatown searching for a job, and the first job he could find was as a cook at Phoenix. He worked there for a few years and eventually saved up enough money to buy the restaurant off of the previous owner who was ready to retire. And my grandparents, at that point, my grandmother came in and they worked there 365 days a year until my parents met at business school and got married. And when they got married, they took their own jobs, but on the weekends and after work, they would come and help with the family business. It wasn't until 1997 when they opened the second location here in Alhambra, where we are today. After a few years, my mom had the idea of offering desserts, the ones that she would enjoy back in Hong Kong, to her customers. And all the customers love desserts and they sold out every day. So that's where the whole idea of the dessert boutique concept came about. And in 2002, we opened the first dessert boutique right next to this restaurant and got nothing but positive reviews. Then about 2 years later, my parents had the idea of combining both the food aspect of our restaurant with our desserts into one package in what we call Phoenix Food Boutique. And the whole purpose of Phoenix Food Boutique is really to offer everyday quality food to our customers and a place where they can come and enjoy food, drinks, and desserts all in one place. A lot of our culture, and specifically my grandparents, many people during that time and even today can really relate to that story. Many first generations who come from China, their main goal is survival, providing for their family. For the kids who came with their parents here, a lot of them, they had different struggles, assimilating to a new culture. In my dad's case, learning a completely new language. So from my grandparents' perspective, they really took pride in the Phoenix brand. And I think the Phoenix brand was really a bridge for a lot of these immigrants to have some of the food that they're so accustomed to back home in a foreign land like Los Angeles. A lot of the food that you'll see on our menu, there's a lot of new dishes, but some of our staples like the Phoenix boneless chicken and our porridges use ingredients and recipes that are largely unchanged since 1965. So I think for myself, my grandfather passed away a few years ago. My grandmother just recently passed away in November. And I was very fortunate to have a very close relationship with my grandparents. And it was difficult for me to really learn about her struggle, their struggle, after their passing. So in my perspective, I think keeping this tradition going, being the third generation now in the business, it gives me an opportunity to honor their story through the food that we serve to our customers and the community. My story is very similar to my parents' story in that I personally knew I always wanted to give the business a shot, join the family business, but I wanted to first make a name for myself and try to find my own path. So like you mentioned, I graduated my undergrad at Cal and moved back here and took a corporate job for about 5.5 years. I just got back from Columbia getting my full-time MBA and joined the family business full-time last month. It's really something that you can't take lightly, and I think it's a huge responsibility, but for myself, it's a completely different world, going from a corporate setting to an entrepreneurial environment, and one that I think I'm ready for right now. There are some things that I really want to continue. If you talk to any of our employees and anyone that we work with, I think they can feel that they are part of our extended family. And I want to be able to bring that forth and continue that spirit with every decision that we make, because it is a unique situation where, you know, I could come, and back then when I would come and eat with my grandparents, we would have customers come in and say, "Oh, like, great to see you," and they would bring their grandkids and their great-grandkids, and it really is a family environment in every way you look at it, whether it's just customers or even our employees. So it's a very unique situation for us, and I want to be able to carry that forward the right way. But ultimately, I think during this time too, especially COVID, I really got to see how strong the Chinese community can be, and how everyone can pull themselves together. Right now we have many vendors and employees who really rely on us to continue going, and without the support of our communities that we serve, we wouldn't be able to do so. So it's been very, very life-changing for me to see. Right when COVID hit, we initially started to serve hot meals to frontline workers like doctors and nurses in various hospitals around San Gabriel Valley. After doing that for about a month, I realized, hey, why don't we actually do this for others? And that's kind of the nexus for Project Phoenix. And the whole goal behind Project Phoenix was really providing hot meals to the underserved, low-income communities in Chinatown and San Gabriel Valley. So over the course of 2 months, we were able to serve over 2,200 meals to doctors, senior citizens, and immigrants with certain post-traumatic or psychological issues. And it was a way for us to really give back to the community that's given us so much over the years. My generation, we're given so many opportunities to pursue whatever we want to pursue. And there's so many doors that have been opened. But what I want to remember is to not forget about the generations that have come before us. Just thinking about the sacrifices that my grandparents had to make coming from Hong Kong here, starting a whole new life. And the hard work that they put in to get us in this position. I want to be able to, again, make my own mark and my own legacy, but remember the traditions that they tried to instill in both my parents and myself. What I really want to focus on is to still keep that family aspect going in our businesses while we grow. It's very easy to grow fast, but we want to grow the right way and still maintain some of those key pillars of our business, family being the key part. And to do that, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of patience. So definitely we are looking towards opportunities outside of Los Angeles, but you know, it really, for us, we're just taking it one day at a time, and just looking forward to the day where we can open our doors and invite people back in for a meal. For Chinese New Year, how we always celebrate it is on Chinese New Year, we go around to all the stores and give out red pockets to all of our employees. And all of our employees take home a Chinese New Year cake. For me, I think my favorite is the Chinese New Year cakes, the Niangao and the Lobako or Lobokao, because those really remind me of my experiences as a kid growing up, and it brings back that nostalgic feeling. And I think that's how we normally do Chinese New Year, and I think we'll continue to do that. But no, really looking forward to this upcoming new year and making it out of this pandemic together.
Speaking of good food, there's so much, whether it's in Chinatown, downtown, or even throughout the San Gabriel Valley. We have a video coming up of all the different businesses that are local that we would love for you to continue supporting, especially during the pandemic. talking about food, I grew up in the Singapore Valley in Monterey Park, and there's an amazing cafe that we all go to. It's called Bopo Mofo Cafe, and it was started by video director Philip Wong and his amazing friend Eric Wong. If you're missing Taiwanese food, I spent a year studying abroad in Taiwan. Sheila's half Taiwanese. Whether you're craving for popcorn chicken or scallion pancakes, you've got it there.
The reason why I wanted to open up a cafe, I think it goes back to even when I was in high school. So late 90s, early 2000s, boba was kind of first coming to the United States. And I remember being a teenager and being really inspired by boba shops. And I felt like it was something that was very uniquely Asian American. And I just always associated boba shops with like cool Asians. And I think when I was in college and working at a cafe, that's when I kind of discovered my love for hospitality, service, and also just, creating fun drinks and food. So I always had that kind of, seed planted in my head. Then, for over 10 years, Wong Fu Productions happened, focused on making videos and films. But through Wong Fu, I actually met Eric, and we did business together, we worked together. And he also had a love for food and hospitality. And around 2017 is kind of when we thought, hey, why don't we try to open up a cafe together? And that's kind of how it started. And so the dream that I always thought was very far away, we were kind of like, hey, this could actually happen right now. And that's what we went off and set out to do. And, it started off with like us experimenting with like food items at home. We would maybe go check out a listing here and there. And eventually, we just decided that we got to take this seriously. So making a business plan, searching for friends and family to invest, and even working with like, chefs and other food creators to come up with our menu. And around 2018 is when we actually found this spot, which used to be a vegetarian Chinese restaurant. It was actually owned by my now fiance Helen, her aunt at the time, and she was her aunt was kind of like kind of done with the business, and she was looking for someone to take over the lease. So we saw a lot of potential and opportunity here. It did not look like this at all when we first took it over. But yeah, we started redesigning, reconstructing in 2018. And we opened early 2019.
So I think Phil and Wong Fu, they moved down here, and this was their first spot, right? They lived here for now over 10 years. It brings a lot of nostalgia. I think people come to the 626 for good food, authentic food. And we've always wanted to open up like a vibey place.
When I first moved after college, I moved to this area, and the boba shops around here kept me fed. It provided a place for me to work and write scripts. And I was like, you know what, if I ever own a cafe, I want to contribute back to, the neighborhoods and the community that, welcomed me in. And so that's why I really wanted to bring it back here and say, put our roots down in like the heart of San Gabriel and say, hey, there's this new generation of, Asian Americans that are becoming entrepreneurs and business owners. And we do want to give back, and we do want to contribute to the progress of our neighborhoods and community.
Learning to be a team player, learning to collaborate, that was sort of a challenge for me, just because I needed to rely on others. Like the success of the company was heavily reliant on your employees, your other managers, your cooks, everyone. So I had to feel like, I had to be a team player, basically.
I remember just sitting in my bed, I'm like, oh, this is the rest of my life, this is like a child. You can't just stop. You hope that you would never stop, right? So I think it's just constantly being on edge, always worrying about it, always stressed about it, and there's always new problems to solve and always new goals to also achieve. Managing a lot of people and who have different goals themselves, that's been a really big learning experience.
When customers take our food home, we really want them to feel that they've received a home-cooked hearty meal, or food that they can't really find anywhere else, food that they identify with, feel good food, hearty.
I think when people come to Bopo Mofo, what I hope that they walk away with is they can tell that we have a genuine love for what we're doing and for serving the community, that we love the product that we're making, and we're also trying to just be something positive for the Asian American community. And I know that's kind of weird to say, like, it's boba or it's food, but I think like you could still have a positive impact. Like I tell people, the videos, we nourish them emotionally, but here we can nourish them physically and what we represent and how we support other businesses, how we support even this event right now. This is our way to show that a local business can still have a positive impact.
My parents are pretty. They did make sure we knew about the traditions and then sort of the purpose of celebrating Lunar New Year. So yeah, we do all the superstitious stuff, like we eat fish, don't eat all of it, eat half of it the next day or whatever. And then yeah, we usually kind of do a big gathering with our relatives, but obviously due to COVID, we're probably just going to celebrate with our immediate family.
So this year for Lunar New Year, I'm going to celebrate. Honestly, probably I'm going to be here. It's Friday, so it's probably going to be busy. It's also the pandemic, so it's not like we can go out and celebrate. My family's in the Bay Area, so yeah. If you all want to celebrate Lunar New Year also with us, come on by. But thank you so much from Boba Mofo Cafe in San Gabriel. 恭喜发财，新年快乐。
Happy New Year's, Happy Lunar New Year's.
恭喜发财，新年快乐！恭喜发财，新年快乐！ My favorite thing about Chinese New Year used to be getting the hongbao. Who hates cash? I used to remember collecting as many hongbaos as I could, filling my pockets, and then at the end of the evening, I'd count, how much money I got, and then at the end of the week, I'd put it into the bank. Now the roles are reversed. I'm married with kids now, and so I'm the one that has to hand out the red envelopes. But I enjoy watching the kids, have as much excitement as I used to have as a kid getting their red envelopes. For me now, personally, I think the best thing about Chinese New Year is just getting friends and family together. My favorite dim sum dish has got to be xiaolongbao, and actually this is my favorite food in the entire world. I think it's the most perfect food. You have carbohydrates, protein, savory flavor. It's got different textures, everything in one little bite. It's just so perfect. So this year for Chinese New Year, unfortunately, we're not getting together. Unlike Christmas and like Thanksgiving, because of COVID concerns, it's probably best to keep families apart. Especially Chinese New Year is a time where elders get together and it can be dangerous for them. So this year we're probably going to do exactly what we did for Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is have a Zoom get-together party on Chinese New Year Eve. My proudest memory as a Chinese American was doing my show Into the Badlands. I didn't realize this until the second season, but I realized we were doing something that hadn't really been done before, which is having an Asian American lead for an American TV show. Prior to that, I'd been working in Hong Kong for 20 years. I'd led many movies there, and so I didn't really realize I was doing something different until we were already into second season. Happy Chinese New Year.
恭喜发财. Happy Lunar New Year for the Year of the Ox. My name is Joanne Young, and I wanted to share some thoughts about celebrating the Lunar New Year. I grew up in Los Angeles, Chinatown, and my best memory about Chinese New Year was the lion dancers coming to my house every year. My sister and I would hang up pieces of lettuce and a lacy, the red envelope with money, put it on a string, and hang it in front of our house. The lion dancers would dance for us and light firecrackers to scare away the evil spirits so we could have a prosperous New Year. I was born in the year of the rabbit. Guess if I'm 57 or 69. My husband was born in the year of the boar. My daughter is a tiger, and my son is a dragon. So you have an idea of the dynamics of my household. My favorite dim sum is the custard tart, Dan Ta. We are planning a dinner for our immediate family to celebrate the New Year, but it will be small due to COVID. My proudest memory as a Chinese American was when Jeremy Lin was playing in the NBA. I like Jackie Chan, I like Jet Li, and Donnie Yen, but Bruce Lee still rules.
恭喜发财，恭喜发财 ，Happy New Year！
祝大家新年好，年年好。 Hello everyone, my name's Gay Yuan and I'm the chairman of the board of the Friends of the Chinese American Museum. 祝大家新年快樂，金牛賀歲，萬事如意，身體健康。
So Sheila, what is your favorite thing about Chinese New Year's?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. We'd be here all day. We'd actually be here all day if I were to tell you what I love about Chinese New Year. But I feel like the top thing would obviously be family and food. You can't forget the hongbao. You know, I was literally waiting in the front of the line as a kid, just waiting to collect my red envelopes, like 恭喜发财，红包拿来. So that would be my favorite part. What about you?
My favorite part would definitely be the food. We would always just have so much food, whether it was fresh fish, noodles, just all the things that filled your stomach. It just felt like home, and I love it, and I miss it now. And yeah, so that's my favorite part. So next up, we have a special performance. If you've ever seen Crazy Rich Asians, the one and only Cheryl Kay, who performed Money on the official soundtrack, will be coming up next.
Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Kay. Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to wish everyone a very happy Lunar New Year, and I hope everyone is staying safe and enjoying this virtual celebration. If you've watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians, you might recognize my voice from the song Money That's What I Want, which is both the opening title and ending credits song of the movie. As for now, I would love to sing for you guys a hybrid version, an English and Mandarin song, Loyal, Brave and True, Christina Aguilera's, from the latest Mulan, and I hope you guys will like it. War is not freedom over my shoulder. I see a clearer view. All for my family, reason I'm breathing, everything to lose. Should I ask myself in the water what a warrior would do? Tell me underneath my armor, am I loyal, brave and true? Am I loyal, brave and true?言派情恶意的伤需勇气，对梦羞无所畏惧。人现在异乡，无人能搭救3年你是残酷。是温水中倒映的自我，用是该怎么去做？但保持下的我在疑惑，是否是种永恒的我？是否是种永恒的我 ？Cold is the morning, warm is the dream, chasing the answer, still I can't sleep. Will I be stronger? Will I be weak? You're not with me. Who am I without my armor? Standing in my father's shoes. All I know is that it's harder to be loyal, brave, and true. Thanks for watching. If you guys would like to check out my social media accounts, you can find me at This Is Cheryl Kay. And if you would like to tune in on February 14th, Valentine's Day, you might just see a familiar face on this season's American Idol on the ABC network, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Once again, thank you for watching, and thank you to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce Los Angeles for having me here today. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event.
citizens, Happy New Year， 恭喜发财！
恭喜各位在猪年行大运，诸事吉祥！谢谢大家，祝你们身体健康，快快乐乐。
I want to thank to everyone that participating in today's program, and to our board directors, Celia Young, Alvin Hong, Eric Chen, Tammy Hong, Alan Chen, Eliza Tisu, Jeremy Chen, and current chamber members, plus our production team, Tom Go and Solomon Young. Thank you for making this event so successful. To you, the audience, thank you for watching the Golden Dragon Parade. Wishing you and your family and friends prosperity and health. Happy Chinese New Year. 恭喜发财. See you in 唐人街, Los Angeles next year.
Happy Lunar New Year!
恭喜發財，新年快樂！
恭喜發財！
新年快樂
Happy Lunar New Year!
祝大家新年好，年年好。
Happy Lunar New Year!
新年快樂！
恭喜發財！
新年快樂
Happy Lunar New Year!
恭喜發財
Happy Chinese Lunar New Year!
恭喜發財！
Happy Chinese New Year!
新年快樂
Very happy, healthy, and prosperous Chinese New Year.
Happy Lunar New Year!
Happy Lunar New Year!
Happy Lunar New Year to everyone.